all of those different nations, they're being summoned up to battle up against each other, man. Right? Because you need a spiritual cleansing of the earth, man. Right? You need to be there. And the only way, because the Most High is cleansed it by fire, but wickedness is has exceeded those standards that were set from before, man. Right? So there needs to be a second cleansing, and that second cleansing is going to come by way of fire. All right? It says, they come from a far country, from the end of the earth, even the Lord and the weapons of his indignation to destroy the whole land. When you go to the book of Isaiah, the 24th chapter, man, it tells you all about those nukes that's going to be hitting left, right, and center, man. Doing all kind of work, man. Doing all kind of cleansing of the earth. All right? To where the earth is going to be shaken, right? It's going to rule to and fro like a drunkard, man. All right? It's going to be bad times, man. It's going to be evil times, man. But the Most High said that from the foundations of the earth that it was going to be like that. All right? It says that they come from a far country, from the end of the earth, even the Lord and the weapons of his indignation to destroy the whole land. It says, how ye, for the day of the Lord is at hand, right? To come and destroy, and it shall come as a destruction from the Almighty. And this is the point I was making a little earlier on. He says, therefore shall all hands be faint, and every man's heart shall melt. So you're gonna have it to where, man, you know, these dudes, man, you got all kind of men out here on the earth, man. You got soldiers even, right? That think that you're gonna hack, that they think that they're gonna hack what's happening, you know, what's gonna be happening that day, man. It's gonna be brutal, right? It's gonna be a time such as never been seen before upon the face of the earth, man. Right? We ain't never been in a state of a nuclear war before, so it's gonna be bad times, man. Right? And that's why the scripture says there, right? Therefore shall all hands be faint, right? And every man's heart shall melt, man. Because there's gonna be so much depth upon the earth. When you read the book of 2 Ezra, man, it talks about a man's gonna desire to see another man's face because it's gonna be sparsely populated, so you can see. So you can understand, man. It's gonna be like movies like The Road, right? It's gonna be movies like would you call that movie, The Book of Eli and all of that, man? All right. You right there, man?
You're preaching, sorry guys.
No, that's cool. That's cool. I'm in the streets. I'm here. You know, I'm here.
I don't want to interrupt you.
No. That's why I'm in the road. Where are you from?
I feel your vibe, mate. I'm from York.
I don't know if you feel my vibe. Where's your father from?
From York.
He's from York. Do you believe in the Most High? Do you believe in the scriptures?
As in God?
Yeah, you believe in God, right?
Absolutely.
Right. Okay. Right. Now, have you got time to deal so I can incite the truth to you?
Amen.
Well, who'd you? Oh, okay, we'll start it off with this, right? Who'd you think the Most High came to save? Right? I take it you go to church in that, right?
I do.
Right. So when you go to church and the pastor goes up on the podium, who does the pastor and who do you believe the Lord has been sent to save? Us.
Everyone.
Right. Now, do you know the scripture speaks that the Most High came to save a specific group of people? He didn't come to save no. Well, quote, I'll say yes and no. Right? Not the Christians that you think that it is. I'll tell you that.
He came here to save everyone.
Right. That's incorrect in accordance to the scriptures.
Okay.
Right. Do you want me to prove it to you?
I don't know everything.
Do you want me to prove it to you?
No, you don't need to. I'm not an expert.
The point of you standing there, right?
But each and every
hold on. Right. The point of you standing here is for you to take reproof, right? Do you know what the word reproof means?
I do.
Right? It means to be corrected, right?
I'm educated.
That's what you're supposed to do. So when I say, do you want me to prove it to you, and you say no,
you don't.
You're wasting your time.
No, because I'm not gonna challenge your knowledge.
No, you're wasting your time, man. You're wasting your time. But I'm gonna tell you anyway, right?
I do believe in God, yes.
Right. I'm gonna tell you anyway, right? Most High's come to save one group of people, right? Those are the Negroes, Hispanics, and Native Americans. All right. Now, hey, you might take that the wrong way. You might get offended because you don't look like a Negro, Hispanic, or Native Americans. Just be real. Be cool. That's fine.
Okay.
All right. We get to the point I was making. However, those Negro, Hispanics, Native Americans have a certain tendency to like women from all the different nations. So by process of time, you're gonna have it to where those same Negroes, Hispanics, Native Americans, all right, we're gonna look like different shapes and forms. Does that make sense to you? All right.
Okay.
So the people of Israel, the Negroes, Hispanics, Native Americans, so you can understand, we're going to come in different shades and forms.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But for the most part, they were going to be known as the Negroes, Hispanics, Native Americans. Those of whom the Most High has come to give salvation to.
Okay.
Right? Does that make sense to you? So when
It does, yeah,
so
it does.
when a state of martial law comes about, right? And when you go Russia, right? And America going to war with each other, which is inevitable. You see it in your news, and it's all been prophesied within the book of within the scriptures, namely the book of Isaiah, the 47th chapter. Right, the book of Isaiah, 47th chapter, talks everything that you need to know about Iran. All right, and it's playing out exactly how it says within the scriptures, man.
Yeah, sure.
Right, and what's going to happen is you're going to have it to where those two nations, namely NATO and America, is going to go up against the Chinese, the Iranians, all right, and they're going to go into a state of what you know as World War III, and that's known as Armageddon, right? Within the scriptures, you know what the word Armageddon means?
I do.
What does it mean? What do you think it means?
Well, it's all about violence, and violence is
right,
not,
the word
not a way out of anything.
Right, the word Armageddon comes from the Hebrew word Armageddon, which means mountain of troops. Right?
Yeah.
Right? And it means mountain of troops because it's going to be like a mountain of troops. There ain't going to be no winner. Really, the only winner that's going to come out of there, right, is going to be the Negroes, Hispanics, Native Americans, the real Israelites, because that's whom the Lord's going to come to save. Because there's a third factor to the world that people don't consider that goes back into the scriptures.
Yeah. Can I say something now?
You can make a statement.
What I'm going to say to you is...
Whether you get corrected or not, that's a different story.
No, but I'm going to say something now to you, that what's really important in life is that you understand is that nobody should ever fear another person.
Well, the scripture.
No, let me finish. You should never fear another person. You should never ever underestimate your belief and your goal. Underestimate what you can achieve in life.
Right. Let me ask you a question on the premise on. Hey, when you reason, you got to reason within the scriptures.
And then also,
you're speaking out of your heart right now.
No.
Are you speaking out of your heart?
Yes. Yeah.
Do you know what the scripture speaks about when it talks about speaking out of your heart?
Let me finish. If things go wrong in the world, there's certain people in life that are paid to sort that job out, and that's these guys.
Right. Getting back onto the point. Right.
That's my message.
All right, fair enough, man.
Okay.
All right, mate.
Yeah. What's up?
Nothing. I was just wondering what you were talking
All right. Okay. All right. Well.
Just wondered what it was about myself.
It's about the scriptures. It's about the Negroes, Hispanics, Native Americans, which are scattered throughout the four corners of the earth. All right, and it's just about prophesying what you're seeing in the world right now, right, which is spoken about in the scriptures, namely the martial law, all of that you're gonna have out there. You know about martial laws coming to America, right? Right, they're gonna do a dry run. Do you know about that? You should know about that. You're a copper, man.
You American?
I'm not American. No, I'm an Israelite. All right, you should know about the martial law. They're gonna dry run martial law in July to September within the states of Texas and all different countries. You know what martial law is, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah.
I didn't know
They're gonna dry run that.
Right.
All right, and you lot cops and all of that. You know it's gonna get hard times because when the people uproar, when they find out, it's unlikely that the pound's gonna last 2015. You must know that, right? You must know that. Do you know about finance?
Oh, yeah.
Right. Okay. Do you mind if I ask you about finance?
Ask me about that.
All right. Do you know what fractional reserve banking is?
I haven't got the slightest idea.
All right. Do you know how your pound comes into existence? The very pound itself. Do you know what a pound is?
Well, it's a monetary value, isn't it?
Right. It's a monetary value of what?
Of this country.
Gold.
Yeah.
All right. It's a pound or a dollar was a certain measure of gold. Right, so I would have a certain amount of gold, right, and I'll say, look, I don't want to look after this no more. I'm gonna give it over to the bank, and the bank was gonna give me a note to say, this is what money is. Now, the Rothschild, you know about the Rothschilds, right?
Yeah.
Which are devils,
Right.
right? Which you inadvertently work for. You know, you work for the devils themselves, right?
But
That's why didn't you swear an oath to the Queen when you came when you got your job? You don't swear oaths.
Why
We
not
don't because
warranted?
we're classed as staff, being
All right, so you're not police.
we're not officers, no.
All right, but
staff.
the police. They have to swear an oath,
Yeah.
pretty much to the devils themselves, right? Right? Well, it is
My
what it is.
opinion.
It is what it is. But what do you call what's a devil? Do you know what the word devil means? Comes from the Latin word diabolos, meaning deceiver. Have they not deceived the world into believing that they don't exist?
Who was they?
I just said the Rothschilds, right?
Okay.
Right there, have they not deceived the world into believing that they don't exist? That's why they know themselves as the Illuminati. They're this entity that doesn't exist. But going back onto the point of money, right? In a statement I made about the finance going down in 2015, right? I said gold. It was a certain measure of gold. Now, when the Rothschild, I believe his name was Mayamso Rothschild, right? They came up to him. He said, "You look after your gold for a certain amount, you know, for an exchange for what you know as a note, which later became, you know, your Federal Reserve note, so on and so forth. But you had an IOU, so to speak. Now, me and you will trade IOUs for certain goods, but in the forward time, we might change gold or whatever it was, and that was money, all right? But he realized people weren't checking what was in the reserves anymore, so he started making more IOUs than it was actually gold. That's where your pound and your dollar comes from, all right? Now you got it to where there are more IOUs than it actually is gold, right? That's the basics of money, all right? But when you get into how money and your dollar is actually created, it comes by way of what you know as debt spending. So your politician, who's your politicians right now these days? Who's in power right now? Okay, so David Cameron does some debt spending, all right? He makes claims about improving the national health service and so on and so forth, right? And then he goes to the Treasury. Treasury writes a bill, right? A check, so you can understand, out of a bank that has a zero balance. Right, that's how they do it in America. They go to the the National Reserve Bank. They write a bill that has they give you a check on no zero account. Would you know what that is? That's fraud. If I give you a check on a zero balance account, that's called fraud. So that's the first clue in letting you know who the devil is, right? Because what I can't do, they do. All right, they make money. All right. Now, when it goes off to the bankers, when the bankers buy those bonds, that's how currency comes into existence. But guess what? That accounts for 10% of the money you have in existence. So when David Cameron goes into the Treasury, asks the Treasury for loans, and those loans get bought by the bonds, and guess what? Those bond buyers are the same Rothschilds that own the banks. Right? When they go get those Federal Reserve, when the bonds, right, gets bought by the bankers, right, that's when you have 10% of your currency. Now I ask you what fractional reserve banking is, right? Fractional reserve banking is you go to work, right? You get paid a certain amount, like you're doing right now. You're getting paid to do work, right? You put £100 in the bank. The bank only has to account for 10%. Did you know that? So you say you got £1,000 in the bank right now, hypothetically speaking. If the market crashes tomorrow, they only have to account for £10 if you're with a good bank. Right? Here's where fractional reserve banking comes into place. You put £100 into the bank, they can loan out 90. The next person gets £90, they put £90 in the bank, they loan out 80. That accounts for 90% of the currency that you have in existence. Right? But that's a perpetual thing, because there's always loaning and borrowing. Inevitably, you can see the end of that, right? Right, that's a mathematical cycle that comes to an inevitable end. So when you got a financial predictions that the market's going to crash in 2015, right? That's just a perpetual thing that's been always. It's easy to predict. You can predict that. You can put a mathematical algorithm to that. Right. Does that make sense? Yeah. Right. So 2015, you might be out of the job, man. And if I was a cop, man, I wouldn't I wouldn't do that, man, because when these people start rioting and all of that, man, they're gonna come for you guys first.
Oh, well, hopefully it won't happen.
That's what the scriptures say.
Yeah.
The scriptures say that's gonna happen. So.
Well, thank you for enlightening me.
That's all right, not a problem. You have a good day.
You too.
All right.
Have you travelled to York today?
Yeah, I have.
Where did you travel from?
I wouldn't say that on camera.
Okay.
Do you have like a YouTube channel?
Yeah, there's a YouTube channel. Yeah, but you know what I mean. You're gonna see all, there's all kind of different, you got all kind of different brothers out there pushing the same message that I'm pushing.
No, I'm just being curious.
That's all right.
Can we watch it?
Can you watch it?
What's your YouTube channel?
You're gonna make me blush. You don't have to watch my YouTube channel. If you're interested in the word, you can type in a Great Millstone. You can find out all about it.
No, it's just that you seem quite informed. That's all. It's quite.
Well. If you don't understand the times that you're in right now, we're at the precipice of war with Russia, It's a bit scary. It says the scripture talks about knowledge, wisdom, and understanding being the stability of the times. The only way you're gonna be stable, right, mentally, right? Like I was just reading the scripture right here in the book of Isaiah, the 13th chapter. It talks about men's hand being fake. When people dropping dead because of nuclear missiles, oh, I haven't even spoken about the biological weapons your so-called leaders are going to release on the people for the purpose of depopulation. But see, if you had sworn an oath to the Queen, right, and the government, if you was a quote unquote, don't be offended, but if you was a real proper policeman, right, you might have known certain things, but depending on what level you're on, right, but you would have been a lower level Mason, right, because when you swear an oath, when you become a policeman and so on and so forth, you become a low ranking devil. All right, it's funny, hey, it seems funny, but it's the truth. Yeah, that's why when you got these different people that go to university and all of that. That's the first stages of being a so-called Freemason. That's where you get your degree, man. Right? And then when you come on a level and you might become a lawyer or a police person or someone, something like that, something with status and all of that, they start letting you know on certain things. And then when you own businesses and you have millions and millions of pounds, they'll tell you straight up, man, they're gonna destroy the people, man. Right? Hey, in fact, your queen. Right, her husband, what's his name? Charles, Prince Charles. Right, he said if he was reincarnated, he would come back as a super virus, right, to depopulate the earth. You can search that up, man. You can search that up. And he's known, and the Queen and all of that, they've been known to be devils, man. In fact, when Barack Obama was sworn into power, that's the first thing he came here, man. He came to see the Queen, man. Which, when you go into the scriptures, you know that they're illegitimate king. She's an illegitimate queen, right? You must know that.
That's a rumor, yeah.
It's not a rumor. It's a means of tracing the lineage. But you know what a kingdom is, right? A domicile of the kings, right? You know where the word king comes from? Kin, as in lineage, as in by the father's line, right? So you can't have a queen, technically. That's the first thing. Secondly, she's German. In fact, she's from the German sect of the Rothschilds, man. She's a straight up devil. That's you're fighting for queen and country. The queen doesn't even really. This is my land, really. Because when you go back into the history, right? My people ruled this country. But we were from the Lord's statutes and commandments, so our power took us out of power during the 1400s. And prior to that, King James, right, the man that sanctioned the translation of this book, he was an Israelite, man. He would have looked like me, man. He was a so-called Negroid. Right, in 1600s, you would have had Moors. You know about the Moors? The word Moor means black. Right, you would have had the Moors within Europe. Right, and you got their descendants now. They would look like how you look. They won't look like so-called white people. But when you trace their lineage back, they were black people. Right, I'm not saying all Spain is the descendants of the Moors, right? Because Spain was conquered by the people that you have in power. So that's a small history, and your own history. You didn't even know about that. That's what you're fighting for. All right.
Yeah.
All right.
Cheers.
No problem.
Have a nice day.
Likewise. Right, so this is the book of Isaiah, the 13th chapter, and this is the 7th verse. It says, "Therefore shall all hands be faint, and every man's heart shall melt." Man, and like I was explaining, man, you're gonna have it to where all kind of things is happening within the earth. All right, the people's hands is gonna melt, man. They're gonna be faint, man. Right, they ain't gonna be able to muster up the strength to walk about and live, man. All right. Because it's gonna be hard times, man. Ain't gonna be no food within the shops, man. Right? Your money is gonna be insignificant because it is insignificant. It's gonna be toilet paper, man. This happened in so many different countries. You had it out there in Zimbabwe. You had it out there in I believe it's in the same state as in Cuba, right? And they tried to do the same thing with Russia, but Russia, right, is got that oil backing, right? Their currency is backed by that oil, and they got quite a bit of it. Plus, they got treaties and agreements with certain bits of China, man. All right, so you got it to where the Russian economy is pretty much can withstand any perils, right? Where with America's gonna try, destabilize their economy or anything like that. All right, so people's hearts gonna melt in that day, man. People gonna be scared, man. Right, they're gonna be scared of what's gonna happen within the earth, man. All right. So it says here, back in the book of Isaiah, the 13th chapter, right? And they shall be afraid, and pangs and sorrows shall take hold of them. And they shall be in pain as a woman that travaileth, and they shall be amazed, and they shall be amazed one at another. Right, their faces shall be as flames. All right, so their faces, man, they're gonna be looking at each other, man. We'll be like, man, we was in power yesterday, man. Not only have we been taken out of power, we ain't got no food or anything like that. And I'm talking about your regular peons, man, like the peon that just came up here. Right, your regular no people, man. They're gonna be like, damn, we had it yesterday, but we don't have it today, man. All right, because that's how the Lord set it up. The Lord set it up, right? That your pride, right, is gonna be your downfall, Esau, man. All right. This is the 9th verse. It says, behold, the day of the Lord cometh cruel, both in wrath and fierce anger. Right, so the Most High is coming back in wrath and fierce anger, contrary to common belief that he's going to come back peaceable, happy. You know, like how they portray how they portray Yahushua, man, in these different churches and all of that, man. The Lord ain't gonna come back like that, man. Right, Yahushua ain't gonna come back all happy and sharing daffodils and candy and all kind of happy things like that, man. Man, the Lord said here, right here, it says, behold, the day of the Lord cometh cruel, both in wrath. So he's not only going to be cruel in the actions they're going to take, as I'm going to show you that in the book of Psalm, Isaiah the 63rd chapter, on the 1st verse, where he ain't going to be just cruel in what he's doing, man. He says also in anger to lay the land desolate, and he shall destroy the sinner thereof out of it, man. So not only are our own people going to be destroyed out of it, but you're going to have it to where Esau is going to be destroyed out of it, man, because the scripture talks about the Most High coming back to lay vengeance first upon his own people, then upon all the people upon the face of the earth, man. Right, and that's in the book of Isaiah. It's the book of Amos, the 9th chapter, man. Right, in the book of Amos, the 9th chapter, the scripture talks about the Lord starting a sanctuary. All right, so this is